following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hello, today's episode of Music Matters, we have the band Flight. I want to welcome Flight to the studio today. And why don't we let the guys introduce themselves. We'll start over here.
Scott Deardon, guitarist.
Tony Puleo, bass player.
Scott Abene, guitar.
Sal Demetrio, drums.
All right, well, good to have you here today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So you're going to play some great music for us today.
We are.
All right, so let's first talk about when did you guys get together?
Actually, a couple of years back, I put out an ad in Craigslist looking for actually something more fusion-y rather than a rock gig, and didn't get a lot of bites on it, and ended up getting a response from Scott asking, kind of it was a shot in the dark, but he figured that he would reach out to me anyway. Ended up going down to his house in Amesbury.
Okay.
Talking to him for a while, and we ended up saying, okay, let's make a go of it. We both always wanted to do a guitar-based instrumental band.
Nice.
And started from there. Over the last couple of years, there's been some lineup changes where Scott and I wanted to make sure that it was what we wanted, and the feel was there, and everybody had the right mind frame for what we were trying to do.
Okay.
And subsequently lost some drummers, lost some bass players, and about last August, we sort of came together as what we are now.
Okay.
And it's been great. It finally has become a cohesive band from that.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been
Good.
a lot of fun.
I think we both knew that the quality of, musicianship that it would take to do an all instrumental has to be above the normal just band without a singer to pull it off.
No
So
doubt.
that took a lot of time just to iron things out and get what we needed for the pieces to fall to even have a chance for this to work. And it seems like it's off on the right foot now.
Very nice. So where are you guys all from?
I'm from Amesbury, Mass.
Okay.
North Shore, Peabody.
Okay.
New York?
All right.
Originally from Chelsea. I live in Amesbury now.
Okay. All right. So what, you guys get together and practice. Do you alternate going to different places, or do you have one steady place?
Scott's house.
Yeah, Scotty's house is the HQ. Yeah.
I'm the lucky one. I don't have
Yeah.
to go anywhere.
I mean, I've got a studio in Salem that we've used before, once or twice, but it's primarily Scotty's place.
Okay. All right. So do you want to talk about where you play, what your influences are in the band influence?
Wow. So from a band point of view, I think it really just boils down to that classic rock instrumental that's been out there. So, when you look at that, you're looking at the Satrianis of the world, or the Eric Johnsons, or the Steve Vai type of, I guess, genre that's out there. And from a personal influence, I think it's all over the board. I come from a jazz background,
Okay.
classically trained, spent a lot of time in the clubs in New York City. Influences, I couldn't name one in particular. I kind of have always stolen from a variety of different sources throughout my history, and try to continue to grab from who I can grab from, across the line. Last year, ended up going and seeing Steve Hackett, who was from Genesis for a period of time. And I was amazed at watching Steve, how much, when I was a kid, I kind of borrowed from him. And you don't see it until the person's in front of you playing, and you're like, oh yeah, I stole that lick. Oh yeah, I took that one too. Oh yeah, I definitely stole that one. So you start to, right. But you start to realize things as you get older and play more that you've borrowed or taken and used and changed from a variety of different players that are out
Well, it's a form of appreciation.
Yeah, I think so. I would hope so.
It's a compliment.
It seems like everybody gets to be themselves in it too, which was more important to me, that I get to play what inspires me to play.
Okay.
As long as he gets to play what he gets to play and be himself, drummer the same, and same as a bass player.
Okay.
And
You know, we all write our own parts, which is
we all have
refreshing.
good ears. We know if it sounds good or not. We don't have a big battle over it. It just, we work
There's
things
really
out.
no ego, and that's one of the reasons why we joined and formed together. I'm the last guy to come on board.
Okay.
As a bass player, I'm usually a hired hand with a lot of people, and a lot of acts are like saying, well, come on in and give me your spin. But it's not always the case. I play with a lot of really good guitar players that really wanted me to do what they wanted me to do. And in this, it's pretty much a cohesive unit. I've never been told, don't do that in this band.
Very nice. Well, you guys are all lucky then.
Yeah, it's particularly rare, I think, that you find four people that have sort of the same mindset as to what they want to do and understand that everybody brings something very different to the table. I think I've never played with another guitar player that was so different than what I am, and I think that really helps the cohesiveness to it overall.
Yeah, and it makes each person better at what they do,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, it's encouraged to be different, to play different parts, you know. What can we do to spice this up? What can we do to...
Yeah, that's another thing. I've never seen two guitar players work so easy together. And this is Scott's.
Yeah, it's always been the running joke, you know. One of the things I told Scott right off the bat was, you know, I once fired another guitar player while we were playing a gig.
Really?
Like, on stage. I was just like, go, just go. You know, you're done here, just go.
Wow.
Guitarists are very frustrating to be around, and the fact that these two put up with two guitar players instead of just one, you know, it's the old thing.
It's not always easy.
I know, right? Guitarists are frustrated singers, right? So it has worked very well. I think from a band perspective too, Tony is not your typical bass player in the sense that sure, he's laying down the bottom and he's doing all the things that he needs to do to work with Sal, but he's also like having another soloist on stage
Nice.
at times too. So there's I guess a controlled mayhem that Sal has to deal with on a regular basis.
Yeah, Sal has to deal with the most, actually.
So,
You have to deal with the most, huh?
you know, hey, somebody's got to do it.
That's right.
But it's Sal's drumming that ties it all in too, so.
Yeah, lays the foundation.
Yeah, you know, without what he does with the drums, would have what we all three are doing fall short. It's not up to what he's pulling off.
Well, it sounds like you all came together at the right time in the right place.
Yeah, it took a while. You know, and I threw out that August date of last year because that's where it really started to gel. Sal came in, the October of 2014, right around there.
September, yeah.
And Tony was right in that like March or April time frame of 2015, I think.
Just about a year.
Yeah, and that's, it took a couple of months. I mean, I think we knew immediately that this was the cohesiveness of the group that needed to happen, and hopefully good things will happen. We've been recording some more tunes.
Okay.
Actually put down some drum tracks this past Saturday. It's always neat to listen to Sal play because with a lot of drummers, when they play, you hear pretty much straight ahead patterns. Sal tends to write specific patterns and specific parts to the songs, so that when you go to listen to just the drum parts, you actually can hear that there's a song from just the drums, which is not something that you typically
True.
would hear from, you know, a lot of drummers that are out there.
It's great for me, so if I just mind just wander, I'm playing, I just have to listen to him and I know right back where we are.
Like an anchor.
That's it.
Well, no need for a drum machine here. So, you guys were talking about your music. Why don't we listen to one?
be
You going to
great.
play a song for us
Yeah.
now? All right, what song are you going to play for us?
First song we're going to play is a song called D,
All right.
and a song that I originally brought into to the band, and it was something that was floating around for quite a while, and gave it to Scott, and Scott came up with the lead parts for it and the melodies for it, and it's the first song we're going to do.
Okay, all right. Well, let's listen to Flight's song, D. Wow, guys, that was great. What was the inspiration for that song?
Originally, I came up with the chord pattern and music to actually write a piece for my wife,
Okay.
which I doubt she knows, but now she knows. So that's good, right?
That's the D, Dorothy.
Oh, very good.
So that was sort of the inspiration behind it. I started writing it, and I felt that it would be a good piece to kind of bring into this band as an icebreaker for Scott and I to work together.
Oh, very nice.
I had been asking for a ballady thing.
Okay.
That's where I kind of like, when I leave, I like to get into those. I just hear the music and just feel it. And, just love creating over it.
Yeah, there's a lot of space to do something
Yeah,
in it.
it just kind of goes in my ears and comes out.
Nice.
Not always instantly, but it irons itself out, and that's what I always enjoy about doing it.
It's a lot of fun to play that one on the drums too, for me.
Oh.
I really enjoy that one especially. I've always liked that song, so it's...
When we were determining which songs to come out here and play, it was an automatic, yep, we're going to definitely do that.
Yeah, it's a good tune. I'm particularly fond of the middle breakdown. There's a groove pattern that we kind of fall into that I always liked in, I would say, some more of the classic rock tunes that have been out there. So for me, it's just a lot of fun to play.
Very good, very good. So do you have any great stories about gigging that you want to share? Anything come to mind with any of you guys?
So the stage story, I know we were talking about that before we came on, but you guys should tell the stage story.
Yes,
because that's pretty amusing.
It's worth it.
Well, yeah, Tony's a wanderer on stage. He tends to pace, and he's definitely not a wallflower. He does not stand still.
Oh, boy.
And
Gojira.
so we were playing at this one club relatively recently, and the stage actually is two pieces that come together in the middle. Tony's usually front and center, and just from his constant pacing back and forth, the stage started to slowly separate. And by the time we ended, the stage was a good foot, 16 inches apart, and it was quite amusing.
Yoga.
So it's definitely a leg breaker if somebody fell into that abyss. So,
Yeah.
At least there wasn't a pool underneath the,
I would have
underneath
dove.
the stage.
That would not have been good with the electrical equipment.
Yeah.
So how long ago was that story?
what was it, January, right?
Yeah,
Oh, was it?
January, yeah.
Was it a place called Kodo?
Kodo in
Yeah,
Salem,
Colin
Mass.
Salem, yeah.
All
It was
right.
very interesting because we got there to set up, and there was a sushi making class going on. So I pulled up next to Scott, and he's like, I don't know where we're going to play there. There's a bunch of people in there making sushi in a class. So
So were you expected to be background music?
that would be even more amusing than
We didn't know what to expect going into that place, but they were good to have us. And we had a good show.
Very good. Do you have any other stories you want to share?
Tony loves cookies and coffee.
cookies and coffee. That's right. But very,
Cookies and coffee.
very specific.
Yeah, we're quite rockers here. Yeah, after
Yeah,
practice, some guys drink beer and so forth, and I'm like, I have just a cookie and a coffee, and then I'm in the corner. See you later.
Rock star.
Rock star right there.
Yeah.
You got to watch him too on stage because you can't get too close to him because the bass neck is flying around like a sword half the time. So you got to really keep your wits about you on stage. Or
Just
you
need bigger stages,
end up
that's
being
all.
clocked by the
More room,
the
bigger
headstock.
stages.
So maybe we're finding out the reason for that split in the stage. Where they've been looking for a solution.
That's
Maybe
it.
we can get one of those plexiglass cages to stick him in and put him in there, right? That would be good.
All right. So let's hear another song from the band Flight. What do you have coming up next?
Latitude?
Latitude.
Yeah.
The song is called Latitude. I was writing something one day out of my yard with a acoustic guitar and sitting and messing around, and happened to look up in the sky and notice that the international flights were coming in from Europe down to Boston and Philadelphia, and like they always do, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon and 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and kind of watching those. And I had never done it, but I decided to go inside and look up what my latitude and longitude was for where I live in New Hampshire. And what I was working on out in the yard, I then picked up a guitar and put down the roughs for Scott to start working on, and it ended up with the latitude and longitude of where I live in East Kingston.
Wow.
So that's where the name came from.
Well, inspiration comes from anywhere.
Yeah, who knew?
Who knew? All right, Flight with Latitude. So what plans do you guys have coming up as your new incarnation?
Well, we're working on the demo right now. We're
Okay.
putting out a lot of new music is our main goal.
Okay.
It's really all about just trying to crank out some new music at this point.
Prog festivals too. We're going to look at to get in some bigger stages and playing with some other instrumental bands. So maybe take it to NAMM next year in 2017, so Winter NAMM.
Oh, good plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good fun. Good fun. I went with Tony this year, and it was pretty exciting.
Yeah?
If you're a music geek, NAMM is really, it's almost overwhelming. You know, it's 95 to 97 decibels no matter where you walk on the floor at any given time. It's the
bliss.
candy store. There's so many amps, there's so many guitars, there's so much music, there's so many musicians wandering around. It's great. So if we could get the chance to go out there and play, I think we should jump all over it. From a music point of view, I think everybody will agree over the last few months with songs, a couple of them that we're doing today, like Latitude, and with Ohm's Law, which is coming up, we are starting to get in a very specific groove as to how we're writing, and as Tony would say, you know, these songs sound like flight songs. So the band is starting to get a personality to how the music is sounding and to what is expected from everybody in the band. So a good part about that is that we are developing a sound that's our own, and the hard part is then getting that recorded and worked out and put together, which is what we're in the process for now. So this last weekend we did drums for Latitude and drums for Ohm's Law. Over the next, I'd say, 2 weeks to 3 weeks, we'll hopefully get the rest of the instruments down and take it out to get it mixed and mastered. So more to come. There's more songs in the queue that we need to get recorded and worked out, and I guess we'll see. You know, none of us are really spring chickens, right? So I guess we'll see where it takes us and go from there. But like Tony said, hopefully get us on as many stages as possible.
Yeah, that's the whole point. We want to get out as much as we can. And that's not conventional clubs, but doing other festivals possibly, you know, who knows, maybe South by Southwest. There's definitely a market, I think, a small growing market for, you know, what we're doing. It's definitely in the minority, but it's getting bigger. So we're going to just keep on doing what we're doing. Yeah.
It takes a lot of work, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, as I found, I know the four of us, we could write a pop song in about 2 hours.
Right.
But I haven't even kept track of how many hours we have into some of the songs we do, but it's a lot more than 2 hours. And it seems every time we get it to a point where we know where it's going, all of a sudden the light goes off and it goes into a different direction, which, you know, it's not a bad thing. It's just, you know, that we've just added at least 2 more rehearsals to try to
Very much so.
Yeah,
bounce
exactly.
other ideas off each other to get the song to go where it's going to go. So none of this stuff that we've been up to is very quick and easy to create, even though I know we could do it that way, but it just, at a certain point, we decided that that's not what we're doing here.
Right. And quick and easy sometimes leads to things that are popular and then disappear.
Yeah, I mean, there's a
very
plus
true.
for that, yeah, you can write something that's very catchy and
Right.
you got a good hook in it and all that, but that's not what Flight is, direction it was going into.
Right.
And that's a big thing with Flight is, like, we all write, and we all write in several styles. I mean, there's some heavier things that Scott's done. There's some fusion things that Scott and I have done. We know that there's a certain kind of formula and mold that's going to fit for what Flight does. And we make sure we write within what we think the representation of Flight is.
All
And
right.
it's gotten more progressive too, I think, as we've sort of evolved together. And it's definitely not cookie cutter, and it's just,
No, yeah, definitely.
it's you know, as a player, it's fun to play. It's stimulating. You know,
You want to be challenged.
Yeah.
You
and-
It's
wanna be
evolving a
challenged
little
every
bit,
time.
yeah. It's definitely evolving.
So, I mean, you know, I know these guys have definitely, you know, made me a better player. And that, you know, I appreciate that, you know, and it's fun. You know, it's first and foremost, it's what we're doing. It should be fun, you know, so.
I wish we were able to get this together, you know, 20, 25 years ago. When life is easier and there's less kids and there's less, you know, house pressure and all of those other things that,
I would have been kicked out.
that we
I was
all
just
know
gonna
so
say
well,
something.
I wouldn't have made it.
you
I
know,
was gonna say you wouldn't be who you are now.
when you could rehearse 3 nights a week with the same band
Yeah.
and still, pay whatever rent and do what you needed to do. But it is what it is, and hopefully we'll be able to just keep pushing along and getting farther along down the road and doing what we need to do from that perspective. It's a blast. I think everybody comes from a very different background from a music perspective, from influences, from what they listen to and throughout their life, and that helps when it comes time to get through the writing process. There's a lot of bands that Tony listens to that I've never listened to. A lot of bands that Scott listened to that I haven't listened to, and vice versa. And all of that helps and brings in a very different influence when you go to write. So I'm hoping good things as we go forward.
Does anyone want to comment on the state of popular music? Or would you rather just not say anything?
Just mention that Johnny D's just went out of business.
Yeah.
It's another
47 years, right?
Yeah.
Some institutions.
Live music, and we won't even get into it, but as far as getting paid as a musician, it's non-existent as far as low as the tier goes, and here it is, people play for nothing, and there's still venues are closing.
Yeah.
So I grew up playing the New York club scene, Kenny's Castaways, Bottom Line, Bitter End, CBGB's, China Club, all those places in Manhattan. And if you look now at what's left, none of those are left. There are very few of them. There's Bitter End is still there. Who knows how long that'll kind of hang on. It's disappointing because there's really no place to play from a music perspective. Not only that, it used to be hard to get people to go out to hear new music or live music. Now it's even more impossible to get people to go out and hear it. From a pop perspective, I don't know when you graduated college or you guys or high school, but I graduated high school in 1982. If I turn on any of the rock stations in this area, that playlist that they're playing right now is almost identical to the playlist that it was my senior year in high school. Something's wrong.
Yeah.
So is there new music out there? Yes. Is there great new music out there? Yes. If you look at bands like Bring Me the Horizon, a lot of the bands that are on the Warped Tour, tour on a year and year out point of view, there's tons of fantastic music happening.
Yeah.
But you're not hearing it.
The
on
vehicle
radio.
for delivering
Right.
it has changed.
And the live venues, you go to the shows, whether it's down in Worcester or House of Blues or wherever, and there's 6 and 7 bands on the bill that are playing, and they're all fantastic bands. But it's word of mouth. So I'm glad I have kids that are still home. And on that note, between the 4 of us, there's not a son amongst them.
Oh my God, 10
Not a
daughters.
single one, but
10
there
daughters.
are 10 daughters.
10 daughters.
And I have 3,
So 13
13,
between
right
us
there.
on the stage, right? So
but I have 1 son too.
we've, everybody's got to rub that in. Amongst that, though, we've been joking that we have to write a tune called 10 Daughters. Because
Oh, that will happen.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
it has
definitely
to.
needs to happen.
And then you'll come back and play it.
But if it wasn't for my kids, I don't know, where I would find the bands that are out there that are good and making, new music. You look at bands like Paramore, right? Paramore is an amazing band, a real powerhouse of a band. They're not on radio airplay at all. So why aren't those bands getting the radio
I mean,
airplay
some places
that
in
they
Europe you still
deserve?
have that live draw, and definitely in South America, but here it's extremely tough.
Right, and so I come from a musical family. My father's a very well-known Grammy Award-winning jazz pianist, arranger, composer, and he ran the WDR Jazz Big Band in Cologne from 2002 up until 2014. And, jazz is America's music, right? And it's hard to fill a theater or a venue or whatever, a performance place with jazz here. And in Germany, they're selling out, 10,000 seat, 12,000 seat theaters and places with a jazz big band, which you would never see here. It's just absurd that we're letting it go by the wayside while the rest of the world is still going out and hearing live music. And I imagine that's got to be a cultural thing where we just don't find it important anymore. So we need to change that.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. All right, so you're going to play another song for us today.
We are. Next song is Ohm's Law.
Okay.
Ohm's Law was kind of a Frankenstein tune, right? I mean, there was. I had a part that kind of went with something that Sal and Tony were doing, and I put that together. Scott had another part that sort of became the basis for the verse and chorus part, and it, for whatever reason, kind of Frankenstein together over like a 3 or 4 week period to end up turning into, I think, one of our
It's
like
a cool tune.
definitive sort of what Flight sounds like and what it will continue to sound like, going forward, right?
Yeah, and there's 2 electricians in this band, myself and Scott, so that's where the Ohm's Law electrical reference came into play there.
Very nice.
Isn't every homeowner an electrician?
Some degree.
All right, well, here's Flight with their song Ohm's Law. Well, guys, that was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We really
Thanks for having us.
appreciated having you here today. And now, why don't you tell our viewers how they can find you?
So we do have a website that's up. You can go to flight-band.com and learn all about us. It has the typical things that you would find on most band websites. So our bios, a little bit about the band, some videos and some sound files that are out there. And of course, the most important point for all of us, the geekery of what we play. So what type of equipment, the types of guitars, down to the strings, and some of the sponsorships that members of the band
There are
have. So
some companies that have been really good to us, and we just want to make note of them. It's
Okay.
Michael L. Custom Guitars is one of them, Galen Kruger Amplification, Tsunami Cables, Bass Switch RMI, GHS Strings,
Yeah,
of
don't forget
course,
GHS.
GHS Strings, Northstream Pickups and Electronics, A Designs Audio. So all these companies have been quintessential in helping us define our sound.
Very
So
nice.
Thank you to you guys.
It was nice of you to recognize them.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you again for coming in the studio, and hope to have you come back when that music CD project is completed.
Will do.
All right.
Thanks much.
Absolutely. Yeah,
All right. Thank you
Thank
so
you. It's
much.
been great.
Thank you, Sal. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, my God. Tony.
It's gone. Scott's good.
Scott,
All right.
Scott. That's right.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.